Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. You can tell by the title, today we're doing my little wrap up of the month and also my TBR for April. So let's just get straight into it. I have read, let's do little statistics, I wrote it down. So this month I read 23 books, which is actually insane if you think about it. I read 10 physical books and 13 books on Kindle. Crazy. The first book that I read this month was In Your Dreams Holden Roads, which is the Queen's Cove series number 3. It's the third book in the series. It's by Stephanie Archer, which if you haven't watched my last video, I became obsessed with Behind the Net by her. And what's the other book? The Fake Out. Became obsessed, so I started reading her backlog. So this is the third book in the series, obviously. And it's about Sadie and Holden, and basically they knew each other when they were kids because Sadie's grandma owned the inn that was in the town, you know, the town inn. She owned it, and unfortunately she passes away, the grandma, and Sadie is like, has to come back because the will, and in the will the grandma left the inn to Holden and Sadie, and they kind of hate each other, kind of enemies to lovers situation. And yeah, so basically they have to work together to go and fix this inn, and yeah. So I gave the book 3 stars. I really enjoyed the whole fixing the inn trope, and I thought, you know, I thought it was good, but I thought it would lean more into Holden's storyline a bit more, like why he was so reserved, why he wasn't very outspoken, but it didn't really do that. So yeah, it was still a cute book though. The next book I read after that was the final book in the Queen's Cove series, which is Finn Rose Forever, and this one is about Finn obviously and Olivia, and like they used to date, and yeah, they used to date. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I gave it 3 stars again. It was cute. Enjoyed the plot where she's trying to find this certain flower to finish her PhD thesis thing. I'm not sure what exactly it was because I read it so long ago. But I really enjoyed that trope, and I also enjoyed the old childhood lovers. I love it when they have a bit of history. It was just a cute book. Like nothing much else to say to it. Then the next book I read, I was really on that Kindle Unlimited grind, was The Heartbreak Rule by Stephanie Archer. This one is about a comedian, which I never read a book that was about a comedian, so it was very interesting to see how that could be written about, I guess. Just another cutesy romance, and I gave it 3 stars. It was still cute. It was like, I think these books are really good for in-between reads, like in-between heavy books and heavy, when you need a break from, for example, if you finish Stone of Glass and you just need a cutesy little book to read in between, to get you back into reading, to get you out of the slump. Like, I feel like these are really good books to just, because they're really quick, they're really easy. Then I started the Chestnut Spring series, which, if you have not read this series, I want you to, so badly. You have to. You have to read this series. I don't make the rules, you just have to read it. So the first book was Flawless. This book is about Summer and Rhett, and basically this whole series is about a bunch of bull riders who, not bull riders, but they're a bunch of country people, small town romance. Freaking every single book, so good. The first book I gave 3.5 stars, and you know, I guess I like bull riders now because literally after I finished this series, I started watching like movies based on bull riding. I forgot what the movie was, but there's one specific movie that I watched and I was literally bawling my eyes out. It was beautiful. I'll put it here if I remember. Anyways, this was 3.5 stars. It was a perfect introduction to the Chestnut Spring series, and I was so excited to read the rest of them. Like, I felt like all the characters got explored, and I was just so excited to go into the next one. So then we get into Heartless, and Heartless is about Cade and Willa? Cade and Willa, and Cade is a single dad, and I just can't. Willa is Summer's best friend, so that's how it all relates, and Cade is Rhett's brother. I loved this book. I gave this book a 4.25. Like, I can't explain it. The single dad trope was amazing, and it was so well done. Like, I feel like sometimes it's not done well, like, at all, but this was so well done. I was literally giggling and like kicking my feet. I was obsessed with this book. And I read those books in the same day. I read 2 books in the same day because I just was so enthralled with this series. Then the next book is Powerless. And I think it was between this book and the next book that were my favorite in the series. This book I think I loved because it's about Jasper, who is the childhood friends who got like, not officially adopted, but like adopted into this family because he's got a lot of trauma. And it's very much childhood friends to lovers and like them fighting each other's feelings and groveling and the groveling, the longing, the childhood friends to lovers. Beautiful. I love Jasper. It's a 4.5. Then we get Reckless. And when I say I hate a pregnancy trope, I hate a pregnancy trope. Tell me why this one slapped. Tell me why it slapped. I was not expecting this. This made me rethink everything. 4.5 stars. So this is about Rhett's, not prodigy, but someone who he's training within the bull riding sphere, and Summer's sister. And there's just so much depth to these characters that I just... Anyways, they're just so good together too. They're such a good couple. And the way that he defends her and everything, I just can't. I really enjoyed it. After that book, I was kind of like, wow. I don't want to go into the last book yet. So I read Offside by Avery Keelan. And this is a hockey romance, of course. I literally have been obsessed with hockey romances recently. I am on a hockey romance grind. I literally started watching hockey, ice hockey specifically. So it's been bad. It's been bad, but good. I love it. So this one is another Kindle Unlimited, cutesy little romance. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoy it. I would recommend it. And my comments on this book is just find me a man who is as protective as Chase. Just please. Find me a man like that. Because final book in the Chestnut Spring series is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. And it's about Bo and what's her name? I always forget the girl's name. Bailey. And Bailey is pretty much a part of this family that everyone hates. It's a very crime-ridden family, and she wants nothing to do with them, and it impacts her, the way she can get a job, the way people act around her and everything. So in comes Bo, and he is like, well, let's get married. Let's get engaged. Let's get married. But no, it could be fake, but maybe then it will help you get a job, help you save up to move out of this town. It is an age gap romance. So I didn't really enjoy that aspect of it. I loved Bo. Bo is just Bo. It was still 4 stars though. So like, I think this whole series to me is a 5-star series. I would highly recommend that you read it. I enjoyed every single book in this series, so highly recommend. Alright, so the next book that I read was Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh. This is about the Boys of Tommen series, and it's about the main girls in those 2 books before, brother and his relationship. And I gave this book a 3.75, mainly because going into this book, I had read Binding and Keeping 13 I think last year, and I generally forgot how fucked up this family is. So after this book I needed a break because it is a lot to handle. I don't want to explain too much about it because it, again, can cause huge spoilers for it. And I started Redeeming 6 and I'm a bit like, Then I finished a bunch of Kindle Unlimited books that I have just because like I was like halfway through them, I just wanted to finish them. So I read Ashes by Soraya. I read the first book I think maybe a month ago, and last month, and I rated it 3 stars. I thought it was a fever dream. I enjoyed the forced marriage trope about it, but I was heavily confused, and genuinely I don't remember anything about this book. And then the next book that I read was Imposter by Alexia Manzuranis. That could be wrong, probably is wrong. And I gave it 2 stars. I liked the concept of it. I liked the band aspect of it, but I didn't vibe with the style of writing, and it felt too fanficky, and it just didn't, I don't know. The next book that I read, which I'm not going to grab out, but I read The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape, which is basically just like a non-fiction finance book that was recommended to me. So I read that book. I didn't give those books a ratings. I just read that book. Then I went back into my hockey romance and I read The Enforcer, which is Lakeside University book 1. And I gave that one a 3 stars. Cute little hockey romance. It was a good palate cleanser, and yeah. So now now we enter the hockey romance series of Becca Mac. So we started with Consider Me, and I read this book last year when I had Kindle Unlimited, because these books are originally on Kindle Unlimited, but I forgot about it. When I was rereading it, like a little bit came back to me, but I forgot how good this book was. I gave it 4 stars. Carter is just such a refreshing character that I hadn't seen before. I don't know. There was a couple things that gave me the ick. First, well, the main thing that gave me the ick in this book was Olivia, because she kept pushing and pulling and being like, your reputation! And he was like, I'm trying to prove to be better, like I'm trying to change. And she's like, but your reputation. It's like, the past is the past, babes. The past is the past. But yeah, 4 stars. Really enjoyed this book. And then we have the next book, which is Play With Me by Becca Mac. This one is about Garrett. They're basically all on the same hockey team. And then the next one is about Jenny, who is Carter's sister. So there's a little bit of like secrecy in that. But Garrett, I loved his character. I loved Garrett. I feel like Jenny's character development in this book was so beautiful, and her struggles were so well written, and the way that Garrett brought out her true personality, it was just chef's kiss. Beautiful. Loved it. 3.75. And then the final book for now in this series, I'm pretty sure the next one is Play With Me, which I'm really excited for. But this one's called Unravel Me. Guys, this book was so close to being 5 stars. I'm not even kidding. It's a 4.75. It generally just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. Yeah. It's about Adam and Rosie, and Adam, something happens to him, and he's just so precious, and then Rosie is just, oh. Anyway, I was sobbing. I love this book. Utter perfection. Would not change a thing. The last books that I read was, I started reading the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. And there's 5 books in this series. They're kind of like short little books. They're not very long. I think they're about 300, maybe 200 pages. And I literally binged all 5 in like 2 days. I loved this series. I think the series overall, maybe like a 4.5, maybe 4.25 stars. I was enthralled. I wasn't expecting any other plot twists. I was genuinely invested in the story. I think everyone should read it. It's such a good story. Do check trigger warnings though, because it is a bit dark. Books 1 through 5. So they were my last 5 books. I would count as a whole series, but technically I did read 5 individual books. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, hopefully I am a little bit more on track with my videos uploading. I am sorry for that. If you don't care, you know, that's fine, but I feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, and it is generally, I have all these videos filmed. I am just genuinely lazy and not editing the videos. So I promise I will try and get all those videos up as soon as possible. But thank you for being patient with me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!